Hello and welcome to the first pick right here on HCTV. I'm Ben Simpson, joined alongside me this afternoon, Mike Cerrone, as we bring you episode number 2. And Mike, I'm a little surprised this week because we were brought back. We didn't mess up too much. They didn't decide to change buildings or anything like that to confuse us. We were able to make it back here for episode 2 without any complaints, Mike.
HCTV folks here in Herndon, Virginia, I'm surprised. I just met Rocco, our producer here, and he's, a very nice guy, and I'm glad he's here because, you know what, if he wasn't here, the whole show would be ruined.
I think so too, and Mike, we got the bobbleheads going for this week. We're going to try to change a couple things here week by week here on the show. So some weeks we might have some bobbleheads. We got Zimmerman over here. We got Abe Lincoln.
Honest Abe.
It's a little interesting collection. We've got some DC United player with the last name Convey. Neither of us have ever heard of him. And then we have Bryce Harper over here, which isn't even a bobblehead. So as we do week by week, we go into 3 segments. We're talking headlines this week. We're talking fill in the blank. That's going to be our game, and then our picks of the week. And the fans at home will be very surprised at who was the winner after Mike talked so much trash about picks of the week. There might be a different winner. We'll get to that at the end of the show. Starting with headlines. For starting off, Mike, the big news this week: LeBron James opting out of his contract with Miami. Now he's got some different options, Mike. He can either return back to Miami if the money's good enough, or he might go somewhere else. So, Mike, I just want to ask you right off the bat, what is the best fit for LeBron James?
Well, I'm telling you right now, Ben, and everybody at home, I'm telling everyone that he's going to Cleveland. He has to go to Cleveland. That's the biggest issue here is that, when you're looking at the draft and the players that they can easily get, and overall, the sole fact that LeBron's from Cleveland or from the Ohio area in Akron, you got to think about. I said it last time, okay, and you didn't believe me, or you did believe me, but you didn't think I was right. But I know the folks at home know I was right, and he's saying he's going back to Cleveland. He should be the one to return back to his home state, to be the guy to lead Cleveland to a championship. Obviously, because let's be honest here, the last 4 seasons they've been one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the NBA. So I think he's going back to Cleveland. But as you said, there are some suitors. They got the LA Clippers in there. They obviously got some other teams, such as not the Lakers. The Lakers, they said they're up there, but they're really not because they have no cap space. They just have so many people like the Bulls even. You don't know, not the Wizards. We don't think we're going to get LeBron, let's be honest here. We're waiting for another 2 years with Kevin Durant coming out. But right now, I think he's still going back to Cleveland. Let's keep it short and simple.
All right, Mike, I'll tell you right off the bat that you're wrong.
Of course.
He's clearly not going back to Cleveland. Here's why, and I said this last week on the show too. LeBron, for Cleveland, they're building off of young talent. You have the first pick of the draft.
LeBron's still young.
Going on. He's late 20s. But for LeBron James, his best fit, Mike, I definitely think is the Clippers in LA. And here's why. This organization is trying to change their image with the whole Donald Sterling thing that occurred. They're going to have that. They got Doc Rivers as a head coach. He gets along with LeBron. You got Chris Paul, point guard. You got Blake Griffin. A lot of good talent to build off of. And Mike, for LeBron James, his time, and I think of it like this: when you know how you go on vacation, and they ask you, are you going for business or are you going for pleasure? For LeBron James, the trip to Miami was for pleasure. He was able to get a couple rings with it. He got to play with a couple superstars and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. But I'll tell you, this move for this offseason is business for LeBron. He's going to pick the best spot to go to, and that is in L.A.
LA's also, pleasure too, you should say.
Well, it's a fun city.
It's LA.
I've never been there. But,
Me either.
But as you mentioned, there's a lot of teams that are interested. You have a team like Chicago that's interested, who we don't necessarily agree that that's Jordan.
They're trying to go after Carmelo and LeBron.
Yes, but that's Jordan country. If you're LeBron, I want to keep myself as distanced away from Jordan country as possible because I don't want that comparison to keep coming up. Now, if you're LeBron, maybe you want to feed off of that and try to get some more rings. We'll see. But, Mike, I think the Clippers are one of the top picks. As much as I disagree with you, I think Cleveland is possibly up there. But I ultimately, again, I think L.A., but I think most likely he could even go back to Miami.
You really don't know exactly what's going to go on because basically LeBron, he's the type of character that's, the type of character, I don't even know why I said that's kind of weird, but he's the type of guy that...
Like a book character?
Yeah, like Bugs Bunny or something. Going back to Space Jam.
LeBron and Bugs Bunny.
Okay, looking at it, he's the type of person that you never know what's really happening. He does everything for himself. He knows what's best for his family, for what's best for him, where he wants to win titles, and you're also looking at he doesn't want to go to a team that really is not in place for a championship. So right now, Chicago, they're up there because they got a really good defensive front. And Derrick Rose is just up in the air right now. But when they're saying they want to get Carmelo and LeBron, obviously LeBron wants to be there with another scorer because he doesn't want to be the guy again that scores 30 points or so every single night just for them to win, just like he was in Cleveland. But like I said, now that Cleveland has Kyrie Irving, the draft, they can pick up a nice player. And basically, overall, when you're looking at it, LeBron is looking for another secondary piece that's young, as you said, and that also can score.
By the way, Mike, I have to mention, you forever one-upping me. Mike with the giant iPad today. I got the little small one. Mike, always trying to beat me.
Being honest, just like Honest Abe.
All right, moving on. Let's talk a little baseball here. I do have the Bryce Harper thing in front of me. Bryce Harper is on the verge of returning back into the lineup. Obviously, he went out with injury. He only played in 22 games this year. Now he is coming back. Now, Mike, the Nats made some interesting moves with moving Ryan Zimmerman out to left field. When Bryce went down, he moved Rendon over to third. Espinosa's playing second. Here's the question, though. Harper comes back into the lineup. Where does everybody go?
That's the issue. You're looking at it here, folks, and when you look at the field, obviously going by the infield, okay, Ramos is coming back. There's no really big issue at catcher. Lobaton's a pretty good catcher as a number 2.
But he's a backup guy. He's not a starter.
Yeah, and you're also looking at Adam LaRoche at first. He, obviously, as I told Ben prior to the show starting, it's basically pick your poison. Would you rather have better defense, or would you rather have a better bat at the plate here? And really, when you're looking at it, Espinosa, not a great bat. Not a great bat. Let's be honest here, folks. Basically, he's a very good fielder, probably the best fielder in my mind on the whole entire diamond. So you're looking at it and thinking, do you want to sit Espinosa down, or is Ryan Zimmerman's arm good enough to play third base to put Rendon back at second and keep Desmond at short and LaRoche at first? They're also talking about Zimmerman going to first. So you really don't know. And also having Harper come back, he's going to be playing left. But I saw on Twitter the other day, if you want to follow me on Twitter, at Cerrone16, at FirstPickBlog for Ben, I saw on Twitter the other day rumors about Harper possibly going for Desard Span's job, which really doesn't make any sense to me because you're taking out your clear-cut number 1 leadoff hitter and a very good a very good center fielder that's a very good cover guy out there who we've seen time and time again get balls that are not even close to being able to be caught by a typical center fielder. So when you're looking at it, what's the pick your poison in my mind? I think you got to have better defense because the bats, obviously, you can have a lot more slumps with the bats, but to keep players in check, on the opposing side, especially with the pitchers that we have, you're going to get a lot of ground balls. Danny Espinosa is the person to put up there. You could obviously, I think it's still kind of iffy when they don't bat him right-handed, like he's already batting 270 or so right-handed, opposed to like 208 lefty, which everyone knows he hits better righty than he does lefty. But they think he's a switch hitter and that's better for baseball. Who knows? But overall, when you're looking at it, I just believe that you got to go for defense in this situation. And I think that, you got to put Zimmerman and LaRoche switching off because obviously giving them rest can obviously, work in their benefit for longer in the playoffs possibly if they make the playoffs. But I think that obviously giving them a break would also be beneficial to the team.
Well, Mike, I'll get a little crazy here. And I say you put Ryan Zimmerman at second base. Danny Espinosa's bat is just not good enough. Now, I agree with you. He's a good fielder. And again, he's not at Desmond level yet. But I think he's right at there as far as feeling. I think Desmond and Espinosa are the 2 best fielders on the Nats. But Ryan Zimmerman, obviously for years playing third base, a lot of his issues came with the throws over to first base. You put Ryan Zimmerman over at second, shorter throw, I think he can adjust. He's a team guy. He doesn't care where he plays as long as he plays. Then that kind of fixes that issue. Now, then the question is, what do you do with Danny Espinosa? You might just have to have him come off the bench, Mike. I mean, again, that's kind of an issue because he's not that great of a bat, but at the same, Espinosa's going to have to find his place somewhere. I think Zim goes over to second. What do you think?
Well, I mean, that's obviously a good situation, to have Zimmerman still in the lineup. But to me, it's just he's not as quick as Danny Espinosa. I don't think he's as agile. I guess is agile with vertical jumping and all that stuff. Is that still technical?
I'll go with agile.
Yeah, whatever.
It's whatever we aren't.
Yeah,
so
yeah, sure, exactly. Thanks. Made my day today. Basically, you're looking at it and thinking, second baseman's a pretty good spot for him. That's obviously an option, but I haven't heard that. That's the issue, and we're not, the type of players or type of people that really can help, Matt Williams out because, they're high caliber people out there.
Yeah, no one's listening to us.
I mean, let's be honest here. If you want to tune in the show, 6 p.m. HCTV every Friday. So if you guys know Matt Williams, shove off the show to him.
All right, let's move on to our next segment called the Fill in the Blank. We're playing a little game like we always like to do. It's real simple. We have a couple sentences here. Mike and I are going to fill in the blank of those sentences with what word we feel fits best. Pretty simple, Mike. Let's go. First one.
Yeah.
You would be blank if the Redskins changed their name. And Mike, I know we fall on different sides of this. Go ahead.
If the Redskins changed their name, I would feel relieved. You got to think about this. It's been going on and on and on for the past, I don't even know how long. Literally, the Redskins' name has been in question, but now it's starting to get more publicity because now congressmen and whoever is coming out. I mean, there's a different name every single time that are coming out and basically saying that the Redskins' name is awful. They should not have it. It's offensive. But when you go to it, like I said, relieved because they're getting a lot of bad publicity towards the name and towards the team itself. But you're looking at it as well thinking, oh, is this like one piece of the puzzle that they're going to start going after people like the Atlanta Braves or the Florida State Seminoles or the Kansas City Chiefs or the Cleveland Indians? I mean, I compare it, Ben, to the presidential race. You're not going to please everybody. You're just not going to please everybody. That's just how it's going to be. But you also got to look at the fact that, it does offend people. It's an easy thing rather than a presidential race because, obviously you can impeach a president, but, you never see that, obviously. But you're looking at it.
Getting political on the show, Mike.
Yes. Hey, I took that one out of the hat here, too.
We got Abe Lincoln in front of us.
Yeah, Honest Dave here. There he is. But you're also looking at, like I said, you got to think, it's going to be a relief once it's done, but Dan Snyder, you know how stubborn he is?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen for at least, I would say, the next decade.
All right, I thought you were going to go the other way with that. I agree with you. I would be over the moon if the Redskins changed their name.
Over the moon.
Again, I've been saying this for years on our radio show. Whenever we've talked together, I think the Redskins should change their name. I think you don't need a name that offends anybody. We don't need to get into that whole thing too much. But again, I agree with you. I think you made a good point on the fact that I think there might be kind of a domino effect. I think once the Redskins change their name, I think you could see teams like the Braves, like the Indians. I think you could see some fallout for that. But we'll see.
But real quick, you're also looking at it and thinking, like, exactly what's this going to do? It's like, I mean, if they do change, and they obviously have the branding and stuff with the Redskins, but you're also looking at their old logo, which they could go back to the arrow, which obviously I don't think it defends any people. Anybody.
Unless they like Hunger Games.
Yeah, or it's a Hunger Games.
Yeah,
but you're also looking at
the bow and arrow.
Yeah, and thinking, what kind of name would they change it to? That's another topic, but I would say, if they wanted to go back to that arrow logo and then go back to, say, the Warriors, which our Washington Warriors is not terrible, but at the same time, I'm not going to stop wearing my Redskins gear because I've been a lifelong Redskins fan. So that's another topic for another day.
All right, let's move on. Luis Suarez's bite in the I don't know if you haven't seen this, go check this out on YouTube. Suarez's bite, yes, we are saying bite with teeth, in a professional soccer game was what? And I'll take this first, Mike. I will say that it was weird. I think it's pretty weird, Mike. I don't think you necessarily do that type of thing if you are completely sane. But again, we've seen some weird plays in soccer, Mike, especially on the big stage. And if you watch some of the smaller leagues and stuff, there's weird stuff happening all the time. But Suarez taking a bite out of his opponent, that's just weird to me, Mike.
Luis Suarez's bite, if you guys haven't seen it, obviously go search Uruguay versus Italy. But Luis Suarez plays for Uruguay, which we're going to get to on Picks of the Week. And he was banned for, I believe, 9 games in 4 months by FIFA. And that's, people are saying that's too harsh, but I think it's a little bit less. But going back to the question, Luis Suarez's bite was odd.
Weird, odd. I like where we're going with this.
Yeah,
okay.
it makes the same sense.
Yeah.
But, you're also looking at it thinking it's kind of odd because, like, why does this guy have to bite people? I just don't understand it. I mean, I could see if you punch people or, even headbutt people, as I have a guy down on my list here, Zinedine Zidane from, I don't know.
Zinedine Zidane, I believe.
Thanks.
From France.
Ask Ben for all the pronunciations. But, he's from France, and it was the 2006 World Cup, and the last game, he was a very good football player, as they say, football. In Europe. But you're looking at it, and he was a very good football player, and he headbutted a guy in the last game, and it was just, that left his legacy. Now you're seeing Luis Suarez, who's a very good football player, and just overall, it's just, a travesty. And I think it's very odd for a guy to resort to biting than to even pushing somebody.
Mike, he was hungry. We've all been there.
Moving on. Grab a Snickers.
Lionel Messi is what, Mike?
Is the second best player in the world. I'm telling everybody right now, He's the second best player in the world. I don't care if he went out there and scored 7 goals in this first group stage. He was playing in the worst group of the whole entire World Cup, and when you compare him to Cristiano Ronaldo, there's no comparison. They have 2 different types of games. It doesn't make any sense to me at all when you look at it and think, okay, Lionel Messi, plays for Barcelona. They play in the Spanish La Liga league, so they're the same person. They're not. Barcelona, for going back to their club teams, Barcelona is a passing team. They could play easily in the EPL because EPL is more passing rather than the La Liga or even the Bundesliga in Germany. That's more of a striking type, offensive thing, very quick. But I think he's the second best player in the world, even though he got a lot of goals. I think it was 4 or so in the first group stages in 3 games. Looking at it, Cristiano Ronaldo, he had 1 goal this whole entire World Cup. He was somewhat hurt. I'm not going to use that as an excuse, though. But he's also playing in the group of death, okay? And Cristiano Ronaldo has no help on Portugal. Argentina has Di Maria, just Higuain. I mean, just all these. Yeah, I know you don't know.
You're just saying names, Mike.
But you're seeing these guys out there that are just such better, complement players. Yeah. I mean, it baffles me how people think that Lionel Messi is out of this world compared to Cristiano Ronaldo. I think everyone is kind of jealous of Cristiano Ronaldo's looks. I mean, his underwear line and all that other stuff. People are jealous, but we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. We are very soccer heavy on the show, Mike. I don't know if it's the Convey bobblehead or it's the fact that USA just advanced. They were going to be playing Belgium. We did need to mention that. That was big news this week. So USA still alive.
They lost 1-0. Yeah, but they still moved on.
They still moved on. That's the way soccer works. Moving on. Staying with the soccer theme, the World Cup is blank compared to the World Series, Super Bowl, etc. I assume, etc. You continue on with Stanley Cup, stuff like that. For the World Cup, I'm going to take this one, Mike. I'm going to say it is big competition to these other sports because I don't think that, besides, overseas, internationally, I don't think a lot of those people are watching necessarily the World Series, watching the Super Bowl. Yes, I think there is a contingent of obviously expats and stuff like that, people all over the world that are watching, but at the same time, I think the World Cup is one of those things that everybody is watching. I mean, you just walk down the street, somebody is watching the World Cup, somebody knows what's going on, not only here in America, but especially in those others. You go down to South America, you go over to Europe. I mean, it's crazy. As you know, being a big soccer guy, the market there for soccer. So I'm going to say it's big competition. Obviously, in America, I'd still say Super Bowl is going to get higher ratings regardless. But as far as a worldview, it's right up there.
So with this question, I'm going to go with the World Cup is going to be, it's in like a sentence.
It's a sentence? Okay.
Basically, the World Cup is going to be more popular within the next decade than all those combined. Just because you look at it and think, the World Cup, their average age of viewership is in the low 30s. So you have to factor in all of our generation with our teenagers, the 20-year-olds, everything, and then all the older people that are averaging there as well. So you're looking at it, baseball is around, I believe, the mid to high 50s. Football is in the high 40s. So just the average age just plays into a fact that I think that all these types of sports combined, for worldwide views, obviously, are going to be the type of comparison and ratio where the World Cup is just going to overtake all of them for viewership. Because also I think with all the video games and FIFA coming out, and especially the United States of America, the USA team, being a lot better, especially on the world stage now with all these better players. And you're also thinking, okay, the women's team is very good as well. They're number 1 in the world for women's soccer, so I think it's going to definitely overtake all the other sports combined.
All right, last one here for fill in the blank. If you had one athlete to go play this sport with, who would it be, Mike? And I'll let you take this one first.
People aren't going to like me for this, but I have to go with Tiger Woods. Okay, I've idolized Tiger Woods. Obviously, I started idolizing Tiger Woods ever since I started playing golf at a very young age. But you're looking at it and thinking, okay, he had that's issues and stuff with women and all that stuff. We're not going to get into that. But you're also looking at the sole fact that he's a great golfer, and I could actually get some tips from him. I'm actually a decent golfer. Ben's never seen me golf, so he believes I'm terrible. But you're also thinking that, you don't lie. So I just think that Tiger Woods playing a round of 18 with him at Augusta or even out gonking down the street would be very, very fun.
You know what, Mike? I have a different athlete, but I will say, you know what I would do with Tiger? Putt-putt. Take Tiger to putt-putting and see how you can do, because I'll tell you.
Who can get to that windmill?
If we go play at the Perils of Lost Jungle down Route 7 against Tiger, I got him all day. all day. I know all the angles. I know how to get through the crazy tigers and stuff over there.
I know when the alligators come up and
it squirts you with the water and the frogs. Yeah, I got you. All right, for me, I'd pick. This might not. Everyone might not know who this is, but I'm picking Boris Diaw of the San Antonio Spurs, and here's why: because Boris Diaw is the ultimate lazy, really good player. Boris Diaw, he doesn't look like a basketball player. He looks like the type of guy who watches a lot of basketball. He looks like Mike and I. He's kind of a big guy. And Boris Diaw, but then again, Mike, you saw him in the finals. I mean, this guy was just straight up balling. And I'll tell you, I'd like to learn from Boris Diaw a little bit.
He had a tweet the other day that he was with a young lady for a bachelorette party, and he wasn't the best shape or anything like that, but he's getting rings and having some fun. So kudos to that.
Yeah, he won a title. Hey, hand it to him. So I think Boris Diaw, you're playing with Tiger. I like those two choices. I like.
That's all right. I mean, you took the underdog pick.
They're going to beat us regardless. So.
Not in putt-putt.
Not in putt-putt. Definitely not. All right, last segment here. Picks of the week, Mike. As surprising as it may be, I did indeed win Picks of the Week. That's why I get the cool bobbleheads, and that's why you have Abe Lincoln.
Hey, I love Honest Abe
over
right
there.
And Ryan's looking at me.
I went 3-1-1 last week. Mike going 2-2-1. And again, we do this stuff on our radio show too, Mike, and you're usually beating me, but I'll tell you, I pulled it off last week. I got the wins. I'm ready to just go on a streak. I'm just going to go week after week, and I'm just going to complete crushing you. Soon I'll have the big iPad.
Soon you will not. My mom will not like that. It's my mom's iPad. I usually use my iPhone.
Moving on. Let's go. Picks of the week. First one, Mike. We got Colombia and Uruguay. Uruguay.
Is that how you say it?
I don't know. Saturday, 4 p.m. in the World Cup matchup. Who do you got, Colombia or the other team?
Yeah, I'm going with Colombia. Just Colombia's front four, or even front three, whichever formation they're going to go with, is going to dominate Uruguay. That's what you want to pronounce it. Well, I'm going to pronounce it that way.
Just go with it.
But yeah, Colombia, if I didn't pick Colombia, first of all, my friends, I'm going to give them a shout out, Valerie and Dill. They're not going to be happy because they're Colombian and they're huge on Colombia and the United States. So they're going to be really upset if I don't pick them. But truly and honestly, I believe that they can win this game. With Luis Suarez, the best player basically for Uruguay, you're going to have Diego Forlan come out there, probably, who was a very good player in 2006 World Cup and the 2010 World Cup. You're going to look at it and think, is he going to be the one to carry Uruguay past Colombia? I don't think so. Luis Suarez is a lone talent for Uruguay. That Diego Forlan was very good a couple years ago with the same talent as Luis Suarez, but now Suarez is out, Forlan, everything's on his shoulders. I think Colombia's defense can hold him up.
Well, Mike, as you know, I'm not a giant soccer guy. I'm going with Colombia as well, just because I can't say the other country. Moving on, Netherlands and Mexico, Sunday, 12 p.m.
That was a good one.
Thank you. Well, who do you got, Netherlands or Mexico, Mike? This is a big game between these two teams.
Exactly.
What do you got?
I mean, obviously, our neighbors to the south, Mexico, I'm not going to go with you guys because you were struggling a lot when it came to qualifying. Then you played very well when it was in the group stage against Brazil. You tied. But you're looking at Netherlands. I mean, they have to be the favorite right now, Ben. They have to be. Robin van Persie, Andres Robin. I mean, you're getting guys there, which obviously you don't know who they are. It's basically the type of players that you see once in a generation on one single team. Even Wesley Sneijder's in there. You're going to see these players come out and just whoop up on Mexico. I got them winning 4-1.
Mike, my guy Convey agrees with you. He's nodding. If you can't tell, I don't know. The heads go all over the place.
Well, I think it's broken.
Yeah, I think it's broken too. I'm going to go with Netherlands as well. The little soccer that I do know, Mike, I know that Netherlands is just loaded with superstars, especially that front three. So I'm going to go with Netherlands. Also, I have watched Mexico play, and I agree they're shaky. So too much agreeing for the first couple picks, Mike. I don't like it. Let's move on. Boston and the Yankees. Who do you got?
I'm going with the Red Sox. Obviously, they're one of the worst teams in the AL East, but I just don't like the Yankees, first of all. It's just the Yankees.
If there's one thing that's going to get us kicked off this station, it's the fact that we don't like the Yankees.
The Yankees are definitely, as Rocco, our producer, is saying, that everyone's in his ear right now yelling at us, but overall, the Yankees, I mean, they're not that great. Let's be honest here. I mean, the good thing is we're in a separate room right here, folks, and everybody else is in a different room.
Can we lock that door?
So, Rocco, get on that. But I just think that the Red Sox, I don't even know. It's just, I think, just overall, I'm just going to go with Boston.
All right, you got Boston.
They're both not having a good season, so just go.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm going to go with the Yankees. I'm sure they're going to give me some extra cookies after the show because of this. I'm going with the Yankees in this series. I think the Yankees, they're playing about 500 ball last 10 games, but at the same time, like you said, both teams struggling a little bit this year. I like the Yankees' chances, especially at home. St. Louis and L.A., the Dodgers. I'm going to go with the first pick here, Mike. I'm going to go with the Dodgers. Dodgers playing real good ball lately. St. Louis playing good as well. This is a fun series, and this is two potential teams that could be facing, late season, some big games going on. But I'm going to go with L.A.
I'm going with the Cardinals in this one. So now we're starting to have some differences, which
All right,
is good.
The show's fun again.
Yeah, it is. I'm going with the St. Louis Cardinals just because of the sole fact that, yes, the Dodgers are good, but the Cardinals are like unbeatable. I mean, it's just the weirdest thing. The record obviously has some losses on there. It's not like they're really unbeatable, but I mean, the Nationals are a great ball club, and they can hardly beat them. And it's weird because they have great players on their squad, but their whole entire lineup's not loaded. And I mean, they got Wainwright. I mean, out in the Hill, so they don't have tons and tons of great pitchers. But at the same time, you're looking at it, and I just think that the Cardinals, they're one of my favorite organizations just because of the way they run their ball club and the way it's all about team to them.
All right, we definitely got a Yasiel Puig bobblehead up here at some point because I'll tell you,
Convey is not doing it for
he's
me.
not doing it. The Dodgers, like I said, they're my pick. They're just too loaded this year. They're really playing good ball. Last pick of the week, Mike, and you always put Detroit on here just to bait me to see if I'm going to pick them because I am a Tigers fan. But like I said last week, I like picking against my teams. That way I can be happy either way. I'm going to go with Cleveland on this one. Detroit at Cleveland. The Tigers actually playing really good ball. So if you pick the Tigers, go ahead. That's totally fine with me, Mike, because they have been playing real well lately. Cleveland, kind of their nemesis. They can usually beat them. But who do you got, Mike?
This is just a buzzkill because, I wanted to pick Cleveland. Or actually, I wanted to pick, Detroit. But then I wanted to pick Cleveland, but now he's picking Cleveland, so now I want to pick Detroit again. So I'm going to go with the Tigers. I was going to say the Lions there for a second.
You don't want to pick the Lions.
We're not in football season yet. But, I'm going to go with the Tigers just because of the sole fact that I think Justin Verlander is going to come out of his slump and pitch a very good game. You got Max Scherzer on the hill as well, I believe, if they don't scratch a start for any God-given reason. But overall, I think I'm going to go with the Tigers and, try to kind of break Ben's, philosophy here with whatever he wants to go with.
All right, Mike, we're nearing the end of the show, and like we do every single week, we finish off, after we do Picks of the Week, I give you my App of the Week, and it went really well last week,
I
Mike.
may have one, too.
I picked the Nike Run app last week. That was, my choice. And this week,
downloaded it.
I got another fun one, Mike. You know how sometimes when you sleep, some people say that you do some things in your sleep and you don't believe them because like snoring and stuff like that.
I've heard of it.
Well, Mike, I have my Sleep Talk app, which what you do is you put it right next, because I've been told by various roommates that I like to have full conversations in my sleep. Now,
that's nice.
And sometimes people can't really tell if I'm talking to them or if I'm just kind of just going a little crazy or something like that. They usually get pretty worried. They leave the room. But Mike, so I'm going to go with the Sleep Talk app, Mike, because I have it right next to bed. You can even highlight your favorite recordings, and you can make a little highlight list, and you can play it for everybody so they don't become friends with you anymore. And then it's really good stuff, Mike. And I'll play it for you after the show, because there's some interesting ones in there.
I'm going to go, typically this is Ben's typical hour, to talk about his app, and I usually make fun of him. But I actually have an app that I didn't like at first. I didn't want to download it first because, my friend was talking to me, oh, it's so cool and stuff like that, but I don't want to listen to him.
Is it Flappy Bird, Mike?
No, I have Flappy Bird, by the way. You can sell your phone for $1,000 on eBay. With
Good
Flappy
to know.
Bird on. Just an FYI, people. Again, it's called 2048. It's a block tile adding thing.
Good description.
I don't really know how to describe it. It's just numbers, and they say the directions on there, so I'm not going to read the directions, but it's a funny game. It's free. Is yours free, by the way?
I hope so.
Okay. This guy. Looking at it, it's 2048, 2048. Go check that out. It's a fun game. It's it passes by the time very much. So when you actually look, and if you're flying, go play some 2048. If you want to do something else, go play some 2048 if you're bored.
2048, the year the Lions will win a Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'm calling it right there as well.
Redskins will change their name in 2048.
Exactly. All right, well, that is about a wrap here. Mike, another show. We will not be on next week. We will be coming back the week after that with some brand new stuff. Hopefully by then, the USA will have advanced even further in the World Cup. They'll be, hoisting the trophy
Hopefully.
above their head, hopefully. And we'll have plenty of stuff to talk about as well. Again, we appreciate all those who tuned in this week as well as last week. And follow us on Twitter, Mike. Go ahead and throw out the Twitters.
At Cerrone16 for me. At Cerrone16. Cerone 16 for me. At First Pick Blog for Ben. Go follow and check out all of our on-demand stuff. Check out Mike Cerrone on YouTube. And if you want to go on Facebook, check out The First Pick on Facebook. Go and subscribe to us on there and spread it all to the family and friends.
Well, thank you all to the producers and everyone involved in the show. For Mike Cerrone, I'm Ben Simpson. This has been The First Pick right here on HCTV.